Hello, my name is Daithí Ó Fallamháin. I'm with the Irish Freedom Party. Today I'd like to consider an argument and then tease out some of the implications. You hear this line of thinking in emotionally manipulative speeches by politicians and NGO types. It's trotted out by bad poets and well-intentioned actors. It's a moral argument, and it goes something like this. Because in the course of our history, Irish people traveled to and lived in other countries, so we in the present should open our borders to any and all who want to live here. Why? The response is usually, it's the right thing to do. But why? I suppose the crudest form of doing the right thing involves reciprocity. You do something nice for me, I'll do something nice for you. In that case, since the Irish largely emigrated to the United States, Britain, and Australia, it should be from those countries that we receive the most immigration. And while it is easy for people from Britain to move here, it's not so easy for Australians and Americans. Because we're still in the EU, there are financial and bureaucratic obstacles put in the way. But some of the people that we are accepting into our country, at least as refugees and asylum seekers, are not from countries that the Irish emigrated to in any great numbers. There is no large Irish community in Syria and Georgia, Nigeria, or Albania. So I think we can safely remove reciprocity as a reason for increased immigration. The people who defend the let them all in argument will remind us that all people are human beings, and then that some, like from the countries I've just mentioned, need our help right now, just as others helped us in the past. This is the let's just be nice argument, that humanity is a big family of global citizens, so we just owe it to them. However, this argument that bringing suffering people to Ireland is the best way to help is simplistic at best and totally disingenuous at worst. If it is our intention to help as many people as possible within our means, then we need to consider some things. Everyone wants to do the right thing by refugees, and let's remember, the people are only considered refugees when their claim for such status has been proven. With that in mind, let's look at some numbers. According to the charity group Islamic Relief Ireland, €60 could feed a family in Syria for a month. €200 can provide a family with emergency shelter, and €275 can provide a family with shelter, fuel, blankets, warm clothes, and food. So why is it so important for some people to want to bring refugees here? Knowing full well that means letting other refugees suffer needlessly. The cost of living is so much more expensive in Europe that the cost to settle a refugee family here is at least 10 times as much as it would cost to settle them closer to their own home. Quoting The Independent, a budget of $3,000 per refugee in Jordan would provide food, water, and opportunity. In Germany, this will cost $30,000. And yet, at the height of the refugee crisis in 2016, Germany spent €23 billion in 1 year. Why do that? Where is the logic? Now, unlike refugees, asylum seekers are generally people who have just turned up at the airport and said, "I seek asylum." They may or may not have a case worthy of refugee status. But when they arrive at Dublin Airport, they've proven nothing except that they could afford the price of the flight from wherever they're from. Now, the rejection rate for first-time asylum seeker claims in Ireland is well more than half. To be precise, it's 63%. Yet each adult here awaiting adjudication on their claim receives €38 a week. This pocket money is, of course, just a top-up to having their food, accommodation, lawyer fees, medical and school costs for their children, if they have any. And as I've mentioned, €60 feeds a family in Syria for a month. The state has also spent around $20 million a year in solicitors' fees for failed asylum seekers and their near-endless appeals. So, with a 63% initial rejection rate, we can consider that more than half of all of this money is wasted. That 20 million alone would buy a lot of blankets in Syria. But in 2019, the budget for providing asylum in Ireland was €130 million. So, we aren't helping as many people as possible. We could be helping tens of thousands more. But then, those people in Ireland involved in the asylum industry, that is the hoteliers and lawyers and other contractors, wouldn't be making the millions they get from government contracts. And I do mean millions. Companies like Bridgestock Care and Mill Street Equestrian Services have benefited by tens of millions. So do we really want to help people in greatest need, or do we simply want to feel good about saying we love diversity? That is, I'm good because I volunteer for asylum seekers, or I have asylum seeker friends. So we can see that the argument for more immigration has nothing to do with paying back a historical debt. Neither is it really about helping those in need. So is it really more about immigration being good for us? That there is some lack in the national makeup that only immigration can fill? This has been suggested, but I'll rule it out as racist. So finally, maybe this push for immigration is just to improve our economy. Not the lives of the Irish people, merely the economy. I pose this because in truth, the vast majority of people coming here, and that's 30,000 plus every year, are simply economic migrants. They're coming here for jobs. And for the most part, really good jobs. 67% of the immigrants to Ireland have a third-level education. We are not taking in any country's poor and huddled masses. For the most part, we are taking in college grads who simply want more money than they can earn at home. So the Irish collectively win no great virtue brownie points for enticing the nurses, doctors, dentists, and engineers away from their own countries, especially underdeveloped countries. These people are bringing their skills to fill job vacancies to the detriment of their homelands. The global citizen is not so selfless and virtuous after all. In short, our doctors and nurses and engineers go to countries where they can get paid more. But for many people around the world, Ireland pays a more attractive salary than they can get elsewhere. But what are the consequences for Ireland? Cormac Lucy determined from looking at CSO figures that, quote, over 60% of net new jobs created in Ireland since 2004 have gone to non-nationals. I'm going to say that again. Over 60% of new jobs created in Ireland since 2004 have gone to non-nationals. 6-0. We are bringing in tens of thousands of people every year to serve big Irish companies and multinational corporations. Now, of course, even after everything I've said, it doesn't stop us from bringing in people if we want to. It doesn't mean we shouldn't bring in anybody. But we certainly don't have to bring in everybody. Simon Coveney has infamously stated that he envisions another 500,000 foreign people moving to Ireland soon. Why? What good is this doing us, the Irish people? How has this line of thinking become simply the unquestioned right thing to do? It's not. We need to stop it.